Welcome to Sylvia Speaks, a space created for Latinas to cultivate healing, knowledge around trauma, money wounds, finding your purpose, and unapologetically speaking your truth. A space that talks about it all, from healing mother wounds, difficulties in parenting, struggles in love, and the journey to self-discovery. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of Sylvia Speaks. And if you are watching this, you heard me right. This episode is both audio and video recording. I think we finally got it figured out, you guys. All right. I am so excited. I was going to spend the first portion of this episode kind of just talking about all the BS that I had to go through to get this setup working. But we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You know why? Because I feel like the past few episodes and weeks, I've kind of just been in this funk and in this space filled with negativity, and it wasn't intentional. I have been going through a lot, like life has been lifing, but I don't want to focus on that anymore. I want to focus on the positivity, on just be grateful. I want to be grateful. I want to have gratitude towards all of the good things that I have in this life. Me having this podcast and me even having been able to figure all this out and getting the shit to work. I'm grateful for that. I got a brain. I'm smart. I know how to YouTube. I knew what to do it, and I'm here, and that's all that matters. It's all that matters. Aside from that, my anxiety has been a lot less this week. Thank God. My CBD pen has been my lifesaver. Thank you to my man. Thank you to my man. Thank you to my man for coming through with this, because he knew that I needed it. And thank you. I have had a pretty good week so far. Abby started soccer, which was super cute and super cool. I am officially a soccer mom. I think that's hot. Okay. So hot. But other than that, I got off early today, which is always great on a Friday, to get off early. But I did go to the DMV and renewed my license. I took a new picture, got all cute and stiff, because my last photo, I look like Michael Jackson. I looked like a ghost, and I contoured my nose so heavily that it was almost invisible. So we didn't do that. I just wanted to get on here and thank Gen Z also, because I just spent maybe 45 minutes on Instagram yesterday just looking up driver's license photo makeup and trying to figure out what would be the best makeup for me to do so that my photo for my driver's license looked great, and Gen Z had all the tips. So I just wanted to say thank you for your service. You are teaching the millennials quite a few things. Sometimes I don't understand you guys. A lot of times I don't understand you guys, but you know what? You do great. You do a lot of great. So thank you. So I'll update you in a couple weeks when that photo comes in. I'm gonna be real mad if it's ugly, but it's not gonna be. It's gonna be cute. So today I kind of wanted to talk about a topic that kind of ties into the whole beginning part of this episode, where I said I had spent quite a few weeks and quite a few episodes stuck in just a space of negativity. And I've been realizing, as I've shared positive news, my man, if you've listened to the past two episodes where I said I think I found the one, I'm not trying to put any pressure on this. I'm just letting it be whatever it is. I really do think that this is my husband, though, not gonna lie. But if it turns out that he's not my husband and he's just a lesson, or he's just here for a season, that's okay too. No pressure. Everything is what it is, and that is how we learn and grow. We don't know what the future holds for us, but we can only be here physically, emotionally, in the present. That is what is healthy, rather than living in the past or trying to live in the future. So I'm just enjoying my present time, my present moment. It is great. I have finally found a partner that checks all of the boxes. And what I mean by that is I had spent quite a few years now doing future partner journaling, where whenever I would just like either feel really sad or maybe like a situationship ended, or I was just like sitting in my solitude and I wanted to visualize what that next person, what my future partner was going to look like, be like, talk like, think like, I I journaled it. Every time that it came through, I journaled it. I journaled it. And when I tell you guys that this man meets every single thing that I journaled about, like every single thing, probably to the T. It's wild. It's crazy. And that's why I'm like, I think this is my husband, because what I put in, he gives back. Like everything that I want emotionally, and from a partner is exactly what he wants to. So we're just on the same page. And I've never experienced that with a partner. I don't think I've ever experienced that with anybody where we've been exactly on the same page. We think the same, we have the same values. I've never felt this before, and it feels so incredibly good. It feels amazing. I want to like just like yell out of joy. Like this has been the one thing in my life so far, through all the BS that I've been going through this year, all the freaking tower moments. Even though I asked God in the beginning of the year to take me off of his warrior soldiers list, he left me on there, and I've been going through it, but this man was the one thing that I'm like, this is the one thing that it's happening right in my life right now. That's happening exactly how I wanted it to happen. And maybe everything else had to fall apart for this to come together. And then now everything else in my life will come together. It will. It will. But this particular relationship is like heaven sent. It's out of this world and everything that I ever imagined it to be. But, and there's no but about him, but I feel like what I've just shared with you guys right now, I feel like I can't really share that with a lot of people. Why? Right? Because a lot of people don't want to hear about your happiness. A lot of people don't want to hear about your dream man coming true. A lot of people don't want to hear about how you might have just met your husband. A lot of people like to sit there and hear your problems. A lot of people like to sit there and hear your struggles. A lot of people like to sit there and hear your pain. And a lot of people like to sit there and trauma bond with you and bounce traumatic events and things that have happened back and forth. And this was something that I was really unaware of for a long time. Trauma bonding is not just something that happens in partnerships, right? Like when people say karmic bonds, which is true, you can find a man that you connect with on, a different type of level because you're both sharing the same type of trauma, and, you're kind of like throwing it back at one another, like you're triggering each other, and the bond becomes so strong because it's familiar. But trauma bonding can happen with anyone. It doesn't have to just be in a romantic relationship. So this was something that I was unaware of. And I feel like as of recently, it's kind of, I guess, resurfaced or like came to a point where I'm acknowledging it now, because the little bit of positivity that's happening in my life right now that I have tried to share with some, I could see how maybe it could be triggering to them, or how they don't want to hear these things that I'm sharing. Like, this is not the normal stuff that I share because this has never happened to me before. But this is not the normal conversations that we have, and or that I have with people. And so now that I'm coming at them with like this whole new perspective and this whole like, I'm not talking about a situationship, or I'm not talking about a man who I think maybe he called me ugly, or, I don't know, everything went well and then he kind of ghosted me. Like, I'm not talking about a man in this kind of space. I'm talking about a man who I'm like, I think this man is my husband. Like, he asked me to be his girlfriend. He sent me these flowers. He did these things. He does these things. We talk all the time. We communicate. And then you kind of see like how the dynamic shifts with the people that you share this stuff with, or just like how they respond to you, or how they look at you, or how their energy feels after or while you're sharing these stories. And it really made me think, like, misery does love company, and I don't think it's intentional. I don't think that people are inherently evil, right? Not everyone, at least. I don't think that I have evil people in my life. I wouldn't allow that type of energy around me. I think the people that I have in my life genuinely have some sort of love for me. Maybe it's not the same exact level of love that I have for them, but they have some sort of level of love and care for me. And with these individuals, as time, progresses, and like relationships shift and people change and life happens and people are just on different life paths, right? Like different frequencies. We're not always going to be aligned. But as I'm entering this new shift in my life, a new type of energy in a healthy relationship for once in my life, I want to share it with the world. Like, I want to shout this out to anyone and everyone who will fucking listen to me. Like, I want to tell them how great this man is and how blessed I feel and how happy I am and how unbelievable it is in my brain that everything that I journaled came true. Like, and I'm trying to share this in a point, like in a way where it's like, you guys, if you're single and you, even if you're in a, because I did this future partner journaling when I was in my last relationship because I knew that that wasn't the relationship for me. I hadn't given it up yet, but I had known that that relationship was not for me. And so I started future partner journaling during that relationship. So I'm trying to tell people, like, do it. Really believe that whatever you desire is out there and it's closer than you can imagine, and everything that's happening to you right now is preparing you for that person, place, or thing. And sometimes it can be hard to believe that. Trust me, I was doing it and I had all the faith, but then I didn't really believe that it was actually going to come true until like it hit me and it happened like out of nowhere. So this is like the place where I want to share my stuff from. Like, I never want to share it to make people feel bad about themselves or to like gloat. Like, I'm happy and I feel like I should be able to share these happy moments of my life and happy things that happen to me and it not all be just negative things. But I'm starting to realize that not a lot of people are receptive to the happiness. Not a lot of people are receptive to hearing the good things that happen in your life. A lot of people like to hear the chisme. Like, they want to know, like, so tell me, like, what's new, like, what bullshit you going through now. And it's like, oh, like, let me get my popcorn out. And it could be cool, right? Sometimes it's great to vent. Sometimes we got shit going on in our lives that we just need to like talk to somebody about. And that's great occasionally. But I feel like just as much as we feel comfortable sharing those negative parts in our life, we should be just as comfortable and just as welcome to share the positive things that happen in our life, the good things that happen to us. And right now, I don't feel like I've found that space, like that, or that balance to be able to share both things, like to be able to share the happiness that I feel as well as the bullshit that still goes on in my life without getting the same kind of reaction and response from both, like from both types of, conversation. And again, I don't really believe that people are inherently evil. At least the people that I keep around me, I know that they're not evil. I am very empathic. I can read people's energy, and I just like to hang around with people who I know like have some kind of love for me. But this has all kind of made me rethink and like reevaluate. Okay, well, the love that I have for people, like the desire that I have to hear all of the great things that go on in their life, why is it that they don't feel the same for me? Is it because I placed maybe too much value on this person that I fail to see that, maybe we're like not aligned in that space to where they feel the same level of like love and care for me as I feel for them? Or what is it? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that yet. And as I started really deep diving and thinking about this past week, I also realized that it's time for me to set some more healthy boundaries with some people that are a little scary because although I had a whole episode on setting boundaries, there's a few people in my life that I've never set boundaries with. And so it's scary to think about like how you backtrack from years, of a relationship to kind of like scaling it back and saying like, hey, it doesn't make me feel good when these things happen. It doesn't make me feel good when like I share certain stories with you and you place doubt in my mind, or it doesn't make me feel good when I share something with you and it seems like, or share something positive with you and it seems like you're only really receptive to when I share like negative things or drama or like things that are going wrong in my life. I don't want to live in that space anymore. Like I want to be able to share both the good and the bad and receive the same type of like feedback on both. I want to be able to share good without people placing like doubt or planting seeds in my mind to make me feel like maybe what I feel isn't happiness or whatever. But then I have to remember at the same time that people can only, they can only meet you at the level that they're at, right? Like I've talked about this before. People can only be at the level that they're at. So if you're like up here and they're here, like they can't meet you here. If your communication style is like here and that like you yourself wouldn't say something negative to your friend or your family member, like if they're sharing something positive with you, you yourself wouldn't, like project your own trauma on them because you're aware, but not everybody is aware. And so I know that when people do this to me and they project their own trauma or they project their own beliefs or, well, I wouldn't do that, or I would do this. If I were you, I would do this. Or they give you, they like offer you not necessarily advice, but they like will try to tell you what you should do. And they're telling you from like a projected place, perhaps even a hurt place. And you kind of are like, no, I don't really feel like that's the right thing to do, but like I trust this person and I trust their judgment. Like, and then you start to like spiral into like thoughts of doubt. And so I don't want to be in that space anymore. I don't feel like I do that to people when people share good or negative, or like things that are going on wrong in their life. Like I always offer support and I don't feel like I ever try and project from a place of hurt or like be like, well, if I were you, I would. And if I ever do that to you and it doesn't feel good, please call me out on it and let me know, because that's something that I would never want to do to people. I would hope that I am a good source of like a listening ear and a good source of support to like where whatever it is that you need me to do in that moment. If you want me to offer you advice or if you just want me to, listen to you vent, that I can be that safe space. And I'm like seeking that safe space now. Like I'm seeking that space to where I can like share all these great things about my boo and then also share all the bullshit that's going on in my life too, and like just be able to have great conversation about it. But then I feel like when I share like the good things, like people are like, oh, mm, you know I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. That's also probably not a lie. I think I am a little crazy, but I've just noticed like a shift in people, since like announcing like positive things, like announcing my man's, like, the not so soft launch. I've just noticed a shift in like the dynamic of like people around me. Maybe it's not that though. Maybe it's Mercury because she's finally in the microwave. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And when it comes to that like particular event, but overall picture, misery does love company. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that person wants to be in misery or that they want to put you in misery and like you guys both be in misery together. Sometimes it's subconscious. Like me being in that negative mindset and just like really focusing on all the negative shit that was happening to me in my life, I could have been that misery. And I could have been recruiting people to come be company with me for all I know. And that's fucked up. That's shitty. And I really hope that I didn't do that to anybody. But I also know that it's possible. I also know that as a human, I'm capable of doing that. But as a human, I'm also capable of choosing differently. And that's where all of this comes into play. Taking a step back and looking at the big picture. Instead of me taking things personally, which I can do because I feel like I do that often. Instead of me taking that personally, I kind of had to step back and like just spend a little bit of time in solitude, like especially this past week, and really reevaluate why I felt that way about certain like dynamics and relationships that I have in my life where I was like, hey, I thought maybe they'd be happy for me, or I thought like maybe their reaction would be different, or I thought they would be more willing, or they'd want to ask me like questions, or they want to hear, they'd be happy for me. Like, why aren't they happy for me? And then I start like spiraling. But instead of doing that, I like remind myself, we're all going through our own shit. We're all going through shit. We're all going through things. Like everybody has personal lives. Everybody has things that they're, going through in life that we may not know about. And it's not always about us. Just because so and so didn't, you know, seem as happy for me as I thought they would, like they normally would be or whatever, like that doesn't mean that they hate me. And that doesn't mean that like they're a shitty person. They just might be going through things. Like me, myself, I've been going through things. I've been extra quiet. I've been a little bit more reserved. And perhaps there's people who think that I hate them right now or that I'm acting weird and I'm not. I'm just trying to survive. So I try my best to like take a step back. I remind myself to not take it personal. But at the same time, I just want to get on here and remind you guys that we all have to just be a little bit more conscious of how we interact and how we react to our loved ones, especially when they come to us with good news. We shouldn't always be willing to hear the chisme and the negativity and all of like the BS and like sit there with our popcorn and go, oh no, girl, dígame. ¿Y qué? ¿Y qué pasó? ¿Y qué dijo? Like, all that's fun and games, but at the same time, we should be giving our homegirls and our loved ones that same amount of energy when they come to us with something positive. Girl, you aced that fucking test. Good for you. Like, let's go fucking get some ice cream, bitch. Like, or wow, you were so scared to do that public speaking presentation, but you did it. Like that's fucking badass. It could be small things. It doesn't have to be like a big ass win or, somebody announcing a new relationship or whatever. It could be a small win. But we got to hype our people up just as much about like the little things in life that go well as much as we want to sit there and talk about all of the things that are going wrong. And again, I know it's subconscious for most of us. Most of us are just used to this where we are humans with trauma. Each one of us has trauma. Everyone in this world has trauma from the moment that we're, created. Because you can have trauma in the womb. From the moment we're created, we can have some sort of trauma. And we just have to be mindful that we're not projecting that on other people. And that the golden rule that we treat people how we want to be treated. And that goes for everyone. And side note on this, I am a huge believer of treating people how you want to be treated and treating everybody equally and fairly. And it makes me a little emotional, like even thinking about it, because I really do treat the janitors the same way that I would treat the CEO. There is no difference in what your title is. There is no difference in what your social economical status is. You are still a human. They are still a human. And this world just needs a lot more love. And I'm getting emotional because like I work, where I work is it's a large building with I don't know how many people work in the whole building and in a whole, but there's a lot of people that work there. And they have a lot of janitors too because it's a large building to maintain. And for me, I every morning when I walk into my workspace, I say good morning to the janitors. I say good morning to every single person that I walk by, the sheriffs. But I especially say good morning to the janitors because I see people just walk by them like they're nobody. I see people, like if they're taking out the trash and they just throw fucking trash and, the new one, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just I was raised differently. Maybe it's because I'm Latina and I have a little bit more empathy towards them. I don't know what it is. I'm just a good, kind person. I'm a sweetheart and I have a big heart. And this is why I truly believe that you need to treat people how you want to be treated, and life will humble you. So if you feel like you don't respect somebody with a lower position than you, just life will humble you. And I've been there. I've been there. I know people have their reservations about me, right? Like how I look or what I drive. Like I drive a Benz, and people probably think like I'm banking, or like how I look. I'm sure people think I got an OnlyFans. Maybe I should, because I need money, but but I don't. And I worked a sales job before. I made great money, and I bought a Benz when I had the funds for it. And now I do not have those funds anymore. And with the way that the car market is and how much money I owe on that car, I literally cannot even trade it in because I'll be so negative and upside down. It's not worth it. I'll be paying more money for a different car. And I can't do that right now. So I know, when people are thinking, or when you're thinking of people and you're making assumptions, just know that they're not always right. So I hope that I debunked, if there's people on here that like know what I drive or like have seen me and they're like, oh, maybe they thought something about me. I'm just telling you right now, I can't even afford that shit. But I can't even afford to get rid of that shit either. So help me. But this is exactly why I got humbled by life. I was used to making a certain amount of money, and I don't make that anymore. And I'm trying to like get back to that level, and it's just not happening yet. So life will humble you. So just remember that when you interact with people. Remember that when you see people on the street. You never know what people are going through. You never know if they're fighting a silent battle. And one thing could either push them off the edge, or one thing can either give them a lot of love in their heart. And for me, I, I don't have a lot to give. Like, I don't have a lot to give financially or materialistically, but I have a lot of love inside of me. And I make sure that I spread that wherever I can, anywhere that I go. And that starts every morning for me, walking into work and saying good morning to the janitors, because I'm so appreciative for them. I'm so grateful for them. And I know that they have families. I know that they're humans, they're people, and they're so used to feeling unseen that I want to make sure that they feel seen by me, and that I greet them with a smile every morning and I say buenos dias or buenas tardes if I don't see them to the afternoon. Que tenga bonito día. Have a great day. Have a beautiful day. So I end this with: be mindful, celebrate the wins just as much as we celebrate the losses, or embrace the losses or want to talk about the losses. Talk about the wins just as much. Let your friends share all the good shit that's happening in their lives and be there and genuinely love and support them. And if you're feeling a little bit of jealousy, that's normal, because I can't sit here and tell you that I don't ever feel jealous. I feel jealous of a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends are doing great. And like, not jealous in a negative way. A lot of my friends are doing so great for themselves. They have fucking careers. They have businesses. They're boss ass bitches. They make money, you know? And I'm so happy for them. I support them. Maybe I can't support them financially at this moment, like by supporting their business, but I support the fuck out of them. And the jealousy part comes from like, I can't wait till I get to that point, and I haven't been able to reach that point, and it just seems like shit after shit after shit after shit happens that doesn't help me to get there. And that's the part that like doesn't feel good. But instead of me like being negative or not caring or not wanting to hear or not like wanting to support them because I feel some type of way about myself because it triggers something within me, that's not cool either. That doesn't make me a good friend. So support your friends and be there for your friends. And if you feel like your friends are, I don't know, being distant or whatever, like reach out to them. You never know what people are going through. And just keep an open mind and an open heart and just be a great person and give all the love in your heart out to people. Open up that heart chakra. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to smile at people. Don't be afraid to compliment people. Don't be afraid to just be a good person. The world needs more of that. Before I let you go, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. I please, I urge you, either while you're listening to this podcast right now in this very, very moment, or right when it finishes, go to whatever podcast platform streaming station you're on, whether that's Spotify, Apple, wherever, YouTube, and subscribe, rate, and review. Please, every time that somebody rates and reviews, it helps put my podcast in, like, it helps it just become more visible to other people who may benefit off of this podcast that have no clue who I am. It just gives me more visibility. Right now I have very few followers on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts. I think I only have like 30, and on Spotify I have like about 40 some. And I just would really appreciate it if you guys gave me that support. It's free. It's the best and easiest and free way to support me. It costs no monies whatsoever. Just subscribe. Put a little review, rate me 5 stars, whatever it is. I would appreciate that so much. I feel like my podcast could be of value to a lot of people. And again, I specifically created this space because there wasn't a lot of Latina podcasters, and I just want to make it. And I know that I'm going to make it, but I need your guys' support first. So please vote for Sylvia. I'm just kidding. But please rate, please subscribe, please review, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys next week. And do not forget to send me a topic. Let me know what you want to. Let me know what you want to hear about. I'm all ears, and I love every recommendation, every message that comes through, and I just love each and every one of you for being here in this space with me, for hearing me cry, for hearing me share my happy moments, for hearing me talk my shit. You guys are the fucking best.